everybody, this is Jen. Welcome to the homestead and welcome to my channel. So today we're taking a look at another herb, a medicinal plant that I grow right here on the homestead, what it's used for and how I harvest it. So follow me along right here on Garden Jen's Journey. Okay, so as you can probably hear, I have birds galore just singing. I have a blackbird over there, a red-tailed blackbird over there. Excuse me, red-winged blackbird. They're everywhere, plus all the other birds I have around here. It's such a delight to listen to them sing and talk all day. So comfrey. Comfrey is a wonderful medicinal herb, though it does have some precautions that you need to use. As well with any other plant that you're dealing with, you know, too much of a good thing is not necessarily good. But comfrey, a lot of people have heard about comfrey, but they're not quite familiar with what it is exactly and how you use it in a safe manner. So again, going back to one of my herb books that I use, and I will put a link in the description box down below to many of the herb books that I use to go through and get my information, double check, recheck, and things like that. But comfrey, so it's grown more for its medicinal and ornamental value than for its culinary purposes. Comfrey is not a plant that you generally eat. In fact, depending on the type of comfrey you get, it can actually be toxic and cause some problems if you ingest it. Now there is times that you can use comfrey in a tea, but again you need to do your research and make sure that you're using any herb safely before you use that herb. So comfrey was once thought to help repair broken bones, which is why one of its names, especially in the Native American cultures and other cultures, is called bone knit, because the properties that it's said to have actually knits broken bones back together, which is also a precaution on how you use comfrey. I use it a lot in my sore muscle salve, and it's good for bronchitis and for asthma and for sprains. But one of the things you want to be careful of is say you've got a really bad sprain and you think maybe there might be a fracture there, or if you got some broken ribs, which can't be, you know, broken ribs can't really be set. They're just kind of there as they're trying to heal. One of the things you do not want to do is put comfrey on that area, because the comfrey will start making those fractures heal. And if the bone is not set right, or especially if you got moving bones like your ribs and stuff that they can't quite, you know, set, you don't want the comfrey to be making those bones heal in a way that is not proper. So that's very important when you're thinking about using comfrey salve or a poultice, is to not use it on broken bones unless they are properly set. All right, so for harvesting and storage, use the leaves fresh or dry. I often dry my herbs here in central Michigan just because it's a lot easier to store them. And especially with the comfrey, it's one of my plants that produces a lot. And so I cut it and come again, basically harvesting the leaves throughout the year. And I can put up a pretty good, nice amount for future use and to give to others who might need it. You can dig the roots down when the plant has died in the fall, and you can dry those. Now I haven't used comfrey root yet because my plant, I just planted it last year. But let me tell you, this year already I've divided the plant and gave some away because it's just growing that fast. This year in the fall, I'm going to try to do another video on harvesting the roots of the comfrey plant, just so you can see what they look like. They're kind of a tangled mess, actually. And one of the things about comfrey is the original strain of comfrey can be highly invasive. It sends out seeds that just go everywhere. And so what a lot of people who want to grow it do is they get the non-seed variety. It spreads more by roots and it's a little more controllable. And that's the kind that I'm growing. It's like Comfrey number 14 or something like that. I originally got it over on Amazon as a root cutting 2 years ago. And so that's one of the things you also want to be careful of, is know what kind of comfrey you have and how it spreads. That way you can manage it. Comfrey is also good if you have chickens and things like that. It's good as fodder. You can also cut it down, let it grow really tall, and just cut it down and compost it. It makes excellent composting material. So there's lots of different uses for comfrey. But yeah, I'm going to show you how, my plant, how it's doing right now. Again, this is just the beginning of the spring and it's already growing pretty big. And we're just going to harvest it. And then what I typically do is I just, like I said, dehydrate them and store them for later use. So let's look at our comfrey. All right, so this is Madam Comfrey here. She's getting kind of big. Still not quite as big as what I've seen it last year, but for just growing in the last couple weeks, she's really taken off. There's a lot of leaf sprouts here, and I think these are actually flowers here, which is really interesting. And so what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to thin this out a bit and take quite a few of the leaves here, and we're going to dehydrate them. And I'm doing it again before these flowers actually sprout. And last year when this was growing, and maybe we'll see this later in the fall. See if I can find one. Oh, here's a bigger one. So last year when I first started growing this, this leaf was almost as big as my head. It was really putting out some huge leaves. And I was really impressed with it. Right now the leaves are kind of smaller, but that's fine. Again, we're just thinning this out a little bit, giving it a little more airflow in here anyway. Cut the damaged one off here. Got a little sunburn. We'll put that in our compost pile. Like I said, this makes excellent compost material. A lot of people use this in their garden for that reason. They don't plant it in their garden because, like I said, this can be invasive. And once you plant it there, you can't really get rid of it. Kind of like daylilies. Once you plant them in a spot, you cannot get rid of them. But yeah, they'll take this, let it grow all year, and then just chop it down. And it makes wonderful compost. So this is basically how much comfrey we have harvested today. Now I'm going to throw this in my dehydrator, let it dehydrate for the rest of the day. Depending on the humidity, I might even let it go overnight. I dehydrate this at between 80 and 110 degrees on my dehydrator. No hotter than that, otherwise it kind of burns it and it kills any medicinal properties in there. Okay, so that's the information on comfrey today and what it looks like and how I harvest it and then how I preserve it. I hope this gave you some insight on another wonderful herb to have on your homestead for medicinal properties or to help make just compost if that's your thing. So I thank you for being with me on this journey today. If you found the video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with some others who might be interested in growing comfrey. Thank you for being with me today, everybody, and I hope wherever you are, you're wonderfully blessed. So until next time, bye-bye.